I'm excited to introduce to you John Politsky, who is the founder and the CEO of WeSpeak Easy Digital Marketing. He has over 25 years of marketing and entrepreneurial experience. In 2018, John has founded the Small Business Academy to educate and empower entrepreneurs and small business owners all over the Delaware Valley. John is an adjunct professor of marketing at Community College of Philadelphia. He serves as a classroom instructor for the Power Up Your Business program and is involved in the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business program as a speaker and a panelist in their marketing and social media portions. Before becoming an instructor, John also attended and graduated from the 10,000 Small Business program. Today, John will discuss, can you hear me now? Effective communication trends in oversaturated digital world. Like me, I'm sure you're inundated with social media, emails, virtual communications, and platforms. It's challenging to navigate all the options. John will share valuable information and help us sort through the noise. I would like to take a moment to welcome a fellow 10KSB alum, John Politsky.
All right, welcome everyone. My name is John Politsky. I am the CEO of Bite Size Digital and WeSpeak Easy Digital Marketing. Today we're going to talk about communications and marketing, and is it just enough to send emails to your clients to keep up with them? So I really want to focus overall on email marketing a little bit, and then the overarching concept of what we should do from a marketing perspective with our clients, prospects, future clients, anything that we really think about. And the way I like to start this out is by talking a little bit about human relationships. So whenever somebody walks into the room, a lot of times people think that eye to eye is the first part of the relationship, right? And it's not. The first part of the relationship is eye to body. So basically somebody sees you before you see them. And that's kind of the way we want to start with marketing. We line up marketing with the 7 stages of human intimacy, right? And those stages of human intimacy go from eye to body to eye to eye to hand to body, right? So as we go through, it starts there and it ends with intercourse, right? A lot of people think it ends with marriage. It doesn't. It ends with intercourse. Those are the stages of human intimacy, right? And we can get through those stages just like in marketing. It could take days, weeks, months, hours, right? Depending on what stage of our life we're in, what we're doing. And what we really want to try to get across to people is that how important it is not to skip steps in those stages, especially with even your current clients, right? I think a lot of people don't understand how important it is to market to your current clients. So when I talk about marketing all the time, I say that marketing as a general rule sucks. It's the most terrible way to grow your business, right? The best ways to grow your business are word of mouth, right? Doing a great job, all these other things. Marketing is a grind. And even as an agency owner who does marketing on a day-to-day basis, we really see how hard it is to really get clients by that. So when we take them through this journey, we want to make sure that we don't skip steps in this journey. And in the journey, as we go from eye to body, eye to eye, all those things, if you skip any 2 steps, it's considered assault, right? And I think that's a really important thing to know. So if you ever see people that do ads on Facebook or Google and it's just buy, or even social media posts, right? Where you're immediately turned off because someone's constantly trying to just sell to you. And we see it if we go to, used cars dealers used to get a really bad rap, and sometimes I'm sure they still do, is you walk in and it's immediately just buy whatever I'm trying to sell. What we really want to get across is that you have to develop this human relationship. So I always use the example, if somebody walked in the room, and it really works well in the male-female dynamic, right? Because guys, it wouldn't really matter for guys. But if a woman walked in the room today and I had never met you before and I immediately came up and just touched your face, right? Without saying, hi, my name's so-and-so, we didn't make contact, you don't know who I am, that's assault, right? It may not seem like it's a gross assault or anything like that, but it's an assault because we're skipping these steps. So we never want to skip those steps, especially in human relationships and in marketing. And that's really what marketing is. It's developing a human relationship with another person. And if you're not doing that correctly, that's why you have a lot of turnover and your business becomes way more transactional than it should. So as we go through this, we're really going to discover each one of these steps. So this first step in marketing is awareness. And that's kind of our eye to body, eye to eye. And in awareness, in that specific stage of awareness, and we're going to relate this back to your current clients as well as prospects. You want to make people aware of who you are, what you do, and why you do what you do, which is really the most important thing. especially if you're starting to, in 2020, appeal to a younger group of people as your prospective clients, whether it's millennial or younger. They don't care so much what you do, right? They care why you do what you do. And we talk about it all the time, how important it is to get your vision and your message and your purpose across to people, why it's important to let people know we're not just a marketing company anymore. We're all production companies. We're all these companies where we have to tell people our vision, what beliefs we have, what's important to us. Those are way more important than just telling people, hey, we're so-and-so and we do this. No one cares about that anymore. There's a million companies out there that do what all of us do. So it's really important to get that across. In awareness, people may know that they have a problem. They may know that there's a solution. There's all different levels of awareness. So as a prospect, we want to show people who we are. Those are your ads, like Super Bowl ads or any kind of commercials that you see. Those are all awareness. And sometimes people will say, well, why does Doritos or Coke or anybody spend $1 million on a Super Bowl ad? The reason that they do is the very cyclical reason that you know who they are. We all know who Coke is because they spend billions of dollars on ads, right? And they've been around for years. There's a reason why we call Band-Aids Band-Aids. Band-Aids are not Band-Aids, they're adhesive bandages. That's a brand, right? We used to call copies Xeroxes, right? Back in the day, which younger people don't know about. And as we go through, you'll see that with awareness advertising. That's why we run ads for awareness. Billboards, as a general rule, you'll hear me, I joke about billboards a lot. They're not the best form of marketing. They're very expensive. There's no way to track your return on those. One great example for local people is Steven Singer, right? So anybody who has ever gone anywhere has seen a Steven Singer ad, right? Everybody hates Steven Singer. That's a great awareness campaign. You may not know the nooks and crannies about what Steven Singer does, but it's a compelling enough awareness campaign that when you go home, you're going to remember that and you're going to look up who's Steven Singer? Like, what does he do? Now, there are millions of billboards on 95 that fail at doing that, but that's a great one if you're talking about awareness. And I think the biggest thing that I want to get across as we kind of converge back to the topic is just sending like these monthly newsletters to your prospects and clients. Is that enough for communication? It's not. And people forget that you may have a client who uses a small section of your company. So we have a few different companies that do a bunch of different things. Some of our clients don't know that we have multiple companies. Some of our clients don't know that we do more than just marketing or websites or whatever it is. So it's really imperative that you are letting people know all the time who you are. And sometimes it's just showing up in their feed and showing them an ad. It could just be you talking about a service. But awareness is really important. And the thing I'm going to keep coming back to today is that we never forget to do that with our current clients as well as prospects. Keep coming back, circling back, letting people know who you are, why you do what you do. Awareness is our first step. After awareness, we get into engagement. And engagement is really to me, it's the most fun part of marketing, which is having actual conversations. So I will tell you today that from a organic social media place, there are 1 million social media platforms. Everyone has their favorites, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, whatever it is, right? Social media, organic social media is a terrible way to do marketing. So if you have 10,000 followers, as a general rule on Facebook and Instagram, 6 to 8% of the people that follow you will see your posts, right? And again, what we do as marketers is we love to talk about ourselves. We love to just go on and on about how great we are and why you should buy our products and different things like that. Organic social media, we're just blasting out our message, right? That's not the best way to do marketing. So if you look at any of our social media platforms, for our company in particular and with our clients, we don't do a lot of organic social media posting. Because to me, what's more important with engagement is actually engaging with people on the platforms. So we start everybody out by spending 15 or 30 minutes a day engaging with people on your platforms. Again, I'll take it back to current clients. Do you follow your clients on social media? Do you engage with their things? And I'm not saying, I see a lot of marketing agencies that kind of shamelessly promote their own clients, right? Which is kind of double dipping into marketing. So as a marketing agency, if I'm like, hey, so-and-so is having a sale this weekend, that's not really genuine marketing, right? That's just me propping up my clients. I'm talking about actually engaging on the platform. So going in and having real conversations on social media. LinkedIn, which is a very undervalued social media platform, is a great place to have conversations. As you'll see, most companies don't post on LinkedIn. You don't really get a lot of value from doing that. But where you do get value is by jumping in and communicating with people. I always give a great example. There's a social media, and it's on Twitter, which is crazy, right? Because Twitter is the biggest dumpster fire of them all. But there's a company, Hilton Hotels, right? They have a social media account, and it's called Hilton Helps. And what they do on this social media platform is exactly what they say they're going to do. They just help people. So if you're staying in a hotel anywhere in the world, not a Hilton hotel, any hotel in the world, Hilton has hired interns in that city, and what they do is they curate things for you. So if you go on Twitter and you say, hey, I'm in Chicago, I'm looking for someplace to eat for dinner, or I'm looking for somewhere to go, they're searching those hashtags. They'll respond to you and say, hey, what part of the city are you staying in? What's your budget? What kind of food do you like? Whatever it may be, or if you're looking for a tourist attraction to go to or somewhere to go, they will then curate some examples of places for you to go or things for you to do. Now keep in mind, the whole time they never say, I'm from Hilton. Have you thought about staying at a Hilton? They don't care. They're just going on there with the sole purpose of engaging and helping you find a solution to your problem. That's a great way to do social media, right? That's a great way to have engaging conversations where you can provide assistance to someone else. Because I'll tell you, if I'm staying in one of those cities and somebody does that, for me, I might not stay at a Hilton next time, but they're certainly in the conversation for me now. And I'm thinking about it more. And there's two more really great examples of that I give all the time. Human engagement, right? Get away from digital marketing, right? Because marketing is about human relationships. So I think sometimes we get stuck in the internet, right? So I was speaking at a conference in Orlando a few years ago, and they put me up at the Ritz-Carlton, which is awesome, super nice. So I'm in the Ritz-Carlton, I walk down into the lobby, and I'm going out to Disney World for the day. And if you've ever been to Ritz-Carlton, the whole hotel smells like lavender, right? It's amazing. So I go over to the concierge and I said, how do you guys get the hotel? Like, I'm expecting them to just say, we just use oil or we have candles or whatever. So instead they get like the HVAC guy to come out and explain to me how they do it, which is completely overkill. I'm not, I don't have a $1 million HVAC system at home. But they spend all this time explaining to me, which is really nice. Then I go out, and when I come back, the concierge stops me and says, Mr. Politsky, here are a few candles from our shop that have that lavender scent. We hope you have a great stay. Thanks so much for asking about it. Do you think, obviously, like we can't always afford to stay at the Ritz-Carlton, but do you think the next time I go to Orlando, I'm not going to try to stay at the, of course I am, right? And I think what people forget is like the Ritz-Carlton, every employee has a $3,000 limit that they can spend without asking a manager to try to make someone stay better. Right? Every employee has that, from the janitor all the way up to the top. They don't have to ask anybody. They can spend $3,000 to make somebody stay better. That's amazing customer service. That's not customer service. That's marketing, right? That's a great way to market to your clients. The last one I have on engagement is, if anybody knows who Gary Vaynerchuk is, he's a famous marketer. So Gary wanted to get Mountain Dew as a client, right? He loved Mountain Dew. He thought it would be an awesome client. They also have a ton of money, right? So he went onto social media and he wanted to find somebody from Mountain Dew on social media that he could follow and kind of try to strike up a conversation with. So remember, normally what we would do as marketers is we would find that person, follow them, immediately DM them or tweet at them or try to talk to them and try to set something up, right? Because that's how we are as marketing and salespeople. We want to kind of get that transaction going. It's not the right way to do marketing. Remember, we're skipping steps if we do that. So what Gary did was he followed the CMO on Twitter of Mountain Dew, and he just waited. He waited to see if they had anything in common because he wanted the relationship to be a genuine relationship. And you can't fake it. If you pretend to have something in common with a prospect or a client, you're going to get found out, right? People smell that out a mile away. So he waited, and finally the guy made a comment about baseball. And Gary said, I love baseball. So the guy said, hey, the Cardinals drafted Colton Wong. I'm really excited to have him on my team. So Gary commented underneath and said, I'm in a fantasy baseball league. I drafted Colton Wong. He went out that night and drafted Colton Wong in his fantasy baseball league. So we'd be authentic about it. And nothing happened, right? It's normal. So we waited. A couple weeks go by. The guy mentions it again. Gary comments again. A couple weeks go by. Guy mentions it again. Gary tweets under him again. So finally, the guy sends a DM to Gary and says, hey, I just looked you up on Twitter. You have 1 million followers and you own a marketing agency. We should have lunch, right? And then boom, they land a $6 million client. That's taking a very authentic approach at marketing and at engagement. So my advice to everybody on the engagement piece of it is, just go on your favorite social media platform, God help you if it's TikTok, and spend 15 or 20 minutes a day actually engaging with people. Don't try to do the TikTok dances. We're all too old for that. It's for children. Let it go. So that's a great thing for engagement. And that's the second step of our process, right? That's kind of like the introducing yourself to someone. Like, hi, I'm so-and-so. It's the handshake of the engagement. And again, taking it back to our current clients. Do you do that with your current clients? Do you reach out and have conversations with them? Does your staff have conversations? Are you telling them about the great things that you do, the other things that you do? Hey, I know you're doing this, but we also do this. And it's not about money. You know, there are plenty of services that we could recommend that are free or whatever they are. It's just about making that human connection and keeping them engaged. So as we continue to go down, our next step through that channel is subscribe. And that subscribe stage is kind of the asking somebody to go on a date, right? So when we meet somebody, we shake hands, we talk to them, whether it's at a networking event or wherever it is. Now we're going to kind of take that relationship to the next level. So in subscribe, what we want to do is we want to exchange value for contact information, right? So you want to ask somebody for the number so you can go out. So in this stage, again, relating it back to your current clients, it's taking them back through those channels, right? If you're doing email marketing, now's the time to send something great in your email. Way too many people send out weekly or monthly newsletters that we all ignore and delete, right? We've all seen them. I always relate it to if you have family members that send out those annoying things of like, here's what my family did this last year at Christmas, right? And we all just laugh and throw them away because we don't care, it's not our family. It's the same thing in this subscribe thing. If you're just sending somebody a weekly or monthly newsletter that's like, hey, look at us, this is what we do at our company, no one cares. If you actually take the time to solve a problem or answer a question, right? How great would it be if every month you took the question that the most prospects asked you and you answered that in an email and said, hey, a lot of people are asking these questions, so we're going to spend 5 minutes answering these questions in a little video snippet or whatever it is. Or you attached a really cool download. For us, if we attached a download of like how to do SEO on your own, right? Way too many people charge an exuberant amount of money for SEO. There's like 10 things that you could do on your own that would save you thousands of dollars. That's something that you're going to open up and engage with. It's something you could put on your website that people will go to and give you their email address or their phone number. If you don't abuse it, right? Don't abuse people's contact information once you get it. But that's a great way to think about the subscribe piece of what we're doing. And do that more with your current, remember, there's 3 ways to grow your company from a growth perspective, right? You can acquire new clients, you can get your current clients to buy more, or you can get your current clients to buy more frequently. The first one sucks. Getting new clients sucks. There's no 2 ways about it, right? It's such a grind, it's impossible. You have to sell yourself, right? It's like going on a date all over again, like trying to put yourself out there, trying to get somebody interested in you, trying to do that. You have people right here. You have this great group of people that love you already. So why not sell more things to them? People will continue to buy from you. They'll buy more, they'll spend more money, they'll do all these other things if you do a good job and continue to provide value. It's never bad to ask people for more money if you've given them a ton of value to start with. So that's your subscribe, right? Convert is we're on a date, right? I've somehow convinced you to spend time with me. So I think the misconception that people have with convert is that it has to be financial. It doesn't. It can be money or time, right? We all have Zoom exhaustion now from being on all these different Zooms. But webinars, meetings, coffees, different things, that's a conversion, right? If you can convince somebody to go have lunch with you, especially now, you can convince somebody to have lunch with you now, you're going to land that client, right? Because they're risking their life to come out and have lunch with you, or coffee or whatever it may be. But that's such a key pivotal moment in a relationship where you're doing half the battle. If somebody gets in the room with you, ask people what their close rates are with somebody who actually comes to your place or you meet for lunch. Your close rate's like 90% if you can get somebody in front of you. So that is a conversion in and of itself. Especially, again, you have clients, you have people that love you. Pick up the phone and talk to them. The one big thing we're going to talk about in a few minutes that people are afraid to do, people are afraid to ask their clients for referrals. People feel very uncomfortable saying that, like you see the old, whether it's Sandler or whatever sales techniques where they say, you know, Mr. So-and-so, we know you've had a great experience with us. You know, do you have a friend or family member that you think would like to use our services, right? It's kind of an old school way to do it, but it works if you're doing a good job, right? It all comes back to if you're doing a good job. So once we convert them, the most important step in this journey, and you'll see it on our handouts and on the PowerPoint here, is Excite. Excite is the function of our company. So it's what we do, it's how we keep people engaged. So this is your actually being on a date and having someone fall in love with you, right? Want that person to take you home to meet their family or their loved ones or their friends. And in this particular part of the journey, especially with current clients, I tell everyone in marketing, I can sell, the first question I ask marketing, excuse my language, is your product or service shit? Right? It's the first question I ask before we engage with somebody. Because if it is, we can sell it once. That's it, right? If you're great at what you do, we can market that over and over and over again. But do you have process in place? Do you have a great customer service team that reaches out and says, hey, how's everything going, right? Like, what do you sell? Do you sell a product? If you sell a product, do you sell something that needs to be put together? Do you reach out and ask people how they made out? And there's great examples all the way of this, right? So I'm a really big advocate for customer service. We moved part of our office last week. And I used a moving company that's in my new building where we're moving to, right? So you would think this is a no-brainer. So if I own that company and I know that somebody's moving into my building and they're gonna use me for a move, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna show them the red carpet because they're an instant referral source for me, right? It's a strategic partnership. So I literally got, the entire process was handled over the internet, which is, it's 2020, I get it. I received no follow-up emails. No one asked me how the service was. No one asked me how it went. No one asked me if I needed anything else. Nothing, right? Gone, that's a gone opportunity now to try to impress me. So one of the things we talk about with Excite is how many steps in your process do you have where you're actually reaching out to your clients? Weekly, monthly. Is everything okay? How are we doing, right? So one of the things we talk about all the time with this Excite portion of the thing is, yes, you have to do a good job, right? I'm assuming here that everyone that's here and watching this does a good job, right? If you don't, you're not gonna be in business that long anyway. So you have to be good at what you do. So if you're good at what you do you have that extra cherry on top, right? Like the Ritz-Carlton does, right? Everybody, if you go to the Ritz-Carlton, all the employees have little cards in their back pocket. You can ask them if you could have the card, and they'll give you a card and they'll get a new one. And they have their little creed on the back of it that says, like, I'm a lady and gentleman, working with ladies and gentlemen to make their experience great, whatever it is, right? So do you preach that in your own organization? And the best way to find out is as we get to the next step, which is advocate, right? The advocate journey of somebody loves your service or your product and they're willing to give you a Google review or a testimonial or whatever it is. So I'm a huge fan of NPS surveys. If you haven't heard of an NPS survey, it's one question that you send to clients. On a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to recommend us as a company? That's it. It's the only question you need to ask. And if they answer below a 5 or a 6, it's terrible, right? Because most people are not, right? So most people, you know, I know it's hard to believe in this political climate that we're in. Most people are fairly in the middle, right? So most people are not going to trash you. They're just going to give you like a 5. But that's really a passive aggressive way of saying you're terrible, right? The 1s and the 2s are the people who are out there, right, that give the terrible restaurant reviews and everything that you see online. That's actually better feedback for you, right? So what you want to do is anybody who's below a 5 or below, you want to reach out to them immediately. Find out, what did we do wrong? Like, how did this go so bad? And that's a thing I think a lot of people are afraid to do. They're afraid to ask how we screwed up. If anybody answers a 6 or a 7, that means they're fairly wishy-washy and you're just kind of getting it done, right? You're doing your job. No one's going to bake you cookies. Nobody's really excited about it. And those I kind of just leave alone, right? I don't even really bother with those. 8s, 9s, and 10s, you want to reach out, ask them for a Google review. Ask them how you can, you know, what are other things that you could do. Ask them to do testimonials for you, right? Ask them to refer some clients to you. That's the one where you say, hey, I'm really glad you're having a great experience. Do you know anybody else that could, benefit from our services? And everybody does, right? Sometimes they're not thinking of that, right? So that's your advocate stage. And that's a really important stage for current clients, obviously, right? Because those are the current clients that are going to help you develop more prospects. And then the last stage of our journey, and this is all a big circle that you should keep doing over and over and over again, is promoters. And promoters are your Apple people, right? So anybody that wears Apple products, we all know them, right? They're the ones that get up at 6 in the morning to get in line for the new iPhone or Apple Watch or whatever it is, right? They're the people who can't stop telling you about CrossFit or keto or vegan or whatever diet they're on, right? Whatever trendy thing is out right now. Those are promoters. So those are people that will push you forward just because you've started this community. I think a lot of people don't realize, right? And I talk about it in other speeches where as a CEO, you're really trying to start a cult, right? We talk about culture, and the beginning of culture is cult. Because what we really want to do is we want to build this little community of people that are willing to do anything for us, right? And that's what your employees and your clients should really be. You should do such great work. You should be so charismatic with your work and your mission and everything you do that these people are willing to tell the rest of the world about you and say, oh my God, have you worked with these people yet? They're great. Like, how are you not a member of the Northeast Philly Chamber yet? Like, why are you waiting? Do it, it's great. So that's kind of the circle. And again, with your current clients, do you go back to them? Are they raving fans of your work, right? Are they these promoters of everything that you do? Do they show up at all your events, even though you don't even ask them? Do they show up at all your Zooms? I was saying before this to Pam, we have a happy hour that we do monthly with our clients and prospects where we have like a 15 or 20 minute networking session, and then we DJ like a happy hour. We pick a theme, like next month we're doing the 80s, right? So we get like 100 and some people that show up on these Zoom calls and just hang out with us and listen to music for an hour and a half on a Friday, right? That's culture. That's them buying into what we do and having fun as an organization. That's the rest of our team. Like, it'd be really funny if it was like all of our clients, but none of our employees showed up, right? Because then your like culture's a little fractured. We have a bunch of employees that show up for this. We have book clubs where we read a book every week and people are reading a book a week. You know how crazy it is to read a book a week? It's insanity. And I have employees that just do that because they think it's fun to do stuff with our team. And that's not me, that's our whole team that creates that culture. One person can't drive a culture. One person can ruin a culture, but one person can't drive the culture. So again, as we come back all the way around the circle of clients and prospects, are emails enough? They're not, right? Marketing is a human relationship. And if we don't treat it as a human relationship, when you get to that excite level, right, they're gonna fall off. Because the level that we didn't talk about is the one right after excite, before advocate, and that's ascend. And that's your marriage, right? That's where people come in and lock in and buy more of your products and services. And if they don't get there, or if they kind of get there, you're gonna lose them to divorce, right? And they're gonna go away. We're talking about this beforehand. I'm not a huge advocate of the agency model of signing clients up for a retainer. When I sign clients up for a retainer, one, I'm not on the same side of the table as they are, right? Because we're telling them that we can do all their marketing better than they can, which is crazy, right? I know when I sign up a client for a retainer that it's going to end, right? So it's like a prenup. So I'm going into something knowing that this is not going to work out. So it's basically like we get there and we're like, I'll put the ring on, but it's, I know you're going to get half of my stuff at the end of this. So, so that's kind of it where I'll leave off now. Does anybody have any questions? Any of you guys out here in the audience have questions?
I do.
Yes.
So here we are. Obviously, we're sitting here with our masks on because we're still in the middle of, we're filming this in August, and we are still dealing with the pandemic, and the businesses are not sure where they are.
Yep.
Whether they're going to continue to be open or what have you. How do you suggest, because there have been some Zoom fatigue, and
Yeah.
there has been inundation of emails, and how do you reach that audience, do you suggest, because we're not gathering at in-person events as we've had in the past. So what is a way to make sure that you're staying engaged. If you send an email and you're being ghosted and not having any kind of response back, because they may be working remotely, is there a trick to make sure that you can maintain that engagement or
Sure.
spark that engagement?
Yeah, for me, so it's funny that you talked about the email. Like I know we've all been ghosted even before the pandemic, right? You're just talking to somebody. Or you even have clients that don't respond to you or anything. So I'll answer this in two different ways. First, on the ghosting is, I send an email. If I get ghosted a couple times, I will send an email and ask people if they're alive. So I will literally send you an email, and in the subject it says, "Are you alive?" So I will send a funny email that just basically says like, "Hey, I haven't heard back from you. I hope everything is okay with you and your health and everything," right? And you'll be surprised how quickly somebody responds back and says, "I'm fine, everything's fine, I'm just busy." The second way is, again, right, if we treat this like human relationships, and we talk about it all the time. When this started in March, we lost a lot of business right away because the first thing that people do is cut marketing and sales. For whatever reason, it's literally the last thing that you should cut because that's what's going to drive your pipeline when this thing starts back up. But people panic and cut sales and marketing. So for me, we had like a quick loss of some things because people panicked. And then for me, it's just one-on-one, right? As a business owner, this is what I signed up for. So it's my responsibility to keep these clients and prospects engaged. So I just try to treat people like human beings and reach out to them on a one-to-one basis. I understand, like we did, when this whole thing started, we were doing a Zoom every day at noon, right? Which is insanity, on like how to market in times of crisis during the pandemic and everything. And you're right, people got Zoom fatigue and everything. I just try to break things down to the smallest level, which is one-to-one. And even during this pandemic, right? I've had so many meetings at like parks by like the river. I live right by the river. So I'll tell people to come over, we can stand out by the water and just have a conversation. I'll bring food, I'll bring wine, whatever you want to do. Let's hang out and talk. And you'd be surprised if you are genuine in the way you approach things and really just try to engage people and say, look, it's not about business right now. Let's see how we can help each other. Like, do you need some help? Let's talk about some ideas that we have for marketing or anything like that. Just try to keep relationships going. I'm not worried about business right now. I'm not worried about making money. My whole agenda is we have a relationship. We're two human beings that have a relationship. If you were married and the pandemic happened, you weren't just like, well, cool story, we can't be near each other, so I'm gonna go this way and you're gonna go that way. No, that's kind of how I treat my relationship with my clients. We're in this together. We're locked together. So let's try to help each other and figure it out. So that's my best advice, is just try to treat it like, forget about money, forget about everything. Let's sit down and have a conversation and see how we can help each other. That's it.
What channels in like a 2020 environment do you see not working really well?
Yeah.
And what channel, like, you know, given everything that's happened with the pandemic, which ones have you seen utterly fail, and then which ones have you seen work really well?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. So I'm very like channel agnostic, right? So I think that your personality is going to shine on a very specific channel. A lot of people will tell you that email marketing is dead. And I will tell you that in our experience, it's still like the number one channel that converts with like the least amount of, rigging the channel, so to speak. If you send really good emails that are purposeful, that are trying to help people, right? Not your cheap, like, none of, unless you own a pizza place, don't email people like a pizza place with coupons every day, right? So I think your channel really depends on who your ideal client is, right? If you're going after kids that are 12 to 24, TikTok's great, right? But what are you doing on that channel? Are you just posting silly videos because you think that you should be on that channel? It's not the right way to do it. So to me, I always downplay social media and those things. I feel like your website should be your home. Remember, every social media channel has a rise and every social media channel has a fall, right? So Twitter was huge, Twitter dropped off. Twitter's big right now because it's a nightmare. Facebook obviously got huge, dropped off. Instagram, and it's follow where marketers go, because marketers ruin every one of these channels, right? So marketers jump on Facebook, they just advertise. Nobody wants to see the ads. They start fading. Children leave the platform when their parents get on the platform. So as a platform matures, right? It's funny, like in February we were talking about TikTok, how it was like not a legitimate platform because it was just children, and then boom, the pandemic hits, and all the 30 and 40-year-old moms are on TikTok now, and now you see all the kids like, oh no, where are we gonna go? Like, we gotta get off of this and find a new place. So I think all channels are viable. It's just the way that you use them. Again, if you lean more towards engagement, finding your ideal audience on that platform and then talking to them the way that they should be talked to. But I think they're all viable if you use them correctly. It's just a little, you have to do, like, obviously, it's just a little more work than most people want to do to kind of like figure out the right way to use the platform.
I have another question on
Yeah.
engagement. So, talking about TikTok and video,
Yep.
what have you. I know LinkedIn, if it hasn't already launched, it's about to launch a video component to LinkedIn.
Yep.
So what is your feeling? Personally, LinkedIn is the platform of my choice.
Yeah.
Rather than the other social medias. On a personal side, I like Instagram, but with
Sure.
LinkedIn for business. So what is your feeling about videos adding to LinkedIn? Is it too premature for that platform, or do you think it'll be accepted?
No.
Good practice, depending on your business?
Yeah, I mean, it's 2020, right? So if you don't have some type of video element going on in your business, you're losing out. I mean, at this point, you should be, I would say like 80 to 90% of the content that we produce has some type of video element to it. I mean, it's because if you do video, you can use video in so many channels, right? You could do, if you did like for instance, if you took this talk, a 40 or 45 minute talk, right? You have a piece of content that's 45 minutes that you can gate and have people pay to be on, right? Which is what it basically is a conference, right? So then you could take that 45 minutes and you could pull out 30 or 40-second clips and post them on social media channels like Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, whatever it is, right? So you use those for those. You could take a 5-minute segment of this and break each one of the channels up. So break up like engagement, subscribe, convert, all those channels, and break them into separate little things and put them up as a blog and then transcribe them as a blog, right? So if you take a 45-minute piece of video, you can use that in like 5,000 different clips. Whereas if you write a blog, you're just writing a blog. And live video, how great is live video at the point where, you know, if you're on Reddit or some of these other platforms, you could do these Ask Me Anythings where you can have your clients just log in on YouTube or Twitch or whatever it is, right? So we do our book clubs on Zoom and we do them on Twitch. And on Twitch, people just log in and ask questions right in the side panel. So it's just knowing where your audience is. So LinkedIn, I think LinkedIn's problem is always that they jump the gun, right? Especially with Microsoft at the helm. They jump the gun and they just try to do things. They tried to do a bunch of things previously, like their advertising is still like the clunkiest advertising in the world. You'll spend $5,000 not getting any leads. So do I think they're going to execute it properly the first time? No. I know a lot of the big names have video already. And Bryn, who's going to be speaking later today, is on a lot of the boards for LinkedIn, so she will have like very valuable information. Everybody check out Bryn's thing. She's awesome at LinkedIn. So I think you should be doing video. You could do video now. I mean, you could post videos on LinkedIn now, so I would do that. But live, you know, again, if it fits your need, I think it's great for you, for the chamber, to do some live stuff where you can answer questions and people can come in and join. I think it's great.
So follow-up question to that. So video for the average user or the average business owner, what have you, to use their phone?
Yeah.
And is it really a recommendation that with all the capability of taking a 45-minute session and breaking it down into 5,000 different opportunities, that to really engage with a marketing company, to be able to craft the correct message rather than a business owner feeling overwhelmed and not being able to execute it properly on their own,
Yep.
that they really should rely on putting dollars back into a marketing assistance of some kind. I'm not just plugging you,
No,
I'm
no,
just
no, yeah.
saying in general, because I know, I'll speak for myself. There's only so much time and resource that I have, but to engage with an organization would be probably.
Yeah. So my big thing with marketing is planning. So I think when you do marketing, your marketing should not be, nothing should be spontaneous with your marketing unless you just go live if something's trending and you just want to jump on a bandwagon real quick for something, right? So I think your marketing should be meticulously planned. I think that your strategy needs to be not like what we're going to do for the next couple weeks. You should have a yearly strategy that should be completely planned out so you don't have to think about your marketing at all. So when you do that, I think the important things are when you hire somebody to do your strategy and your plan for you, one of the things that we do is reaching then out and saying, here are things where I think you should spend your time. You should spend your time creating content, talking to your clients, talking to prospects, creating these different things. And then here are the places where I think that you should outsource. Video production is a place that you should outsource. I don't know if anybody's tried to edit video, but if you want to have a really good time, go home and download like the Adobe Suite or anything and try to edit your own video. And 17 hours later, you can then figure out that it's probably a better idea to outsource some of that. And even production, if you look at this, right? How many of us have $20,000, right, to get multi-angle camera views and the right audio and the right lighting and all these different things? So yeah, for me, it's get somebody who helps you with the initial strategy and the planning, and then that person will advise you, here are the places where it's good for you to spend your time, and here are the places where it's not good for you to spend your time. So yeah, that's critically important.
I would like to take a moment to thank our generous sponsors. Through their support, we are able to bring you quality programming and a virtual networking experience. I'd like to thank our corporate sponsors, Philadelphia Federal Credit Union, Parks Casino, TD Bank, Marshall's Distribution Center, Philadelphia. I'd like to thank our executive sponsors, Chorus Services, Holy Family University, Inverse Paradox, Jefferson Health Northeast, Nazareth Hospital, Northeast Family YMCA, PICO, Philadelphia Gas Works, Philadelphia Industrial Development Corporation, Rivers Casino, St. Basil Academy, and Witham Smith & Brown. I'd also like to thank our media sponsor, Northeast Times, our production sponsor, Viral Ideas Marketing, and our session sponsors, Fast Signs of Northeast Philadelphia. Please take a moment to reach out to our sponsors and share your positive experience as a subscriber of the 2020 Women in Business Conference. Thank you very much for subscribing, and we hope you enjoy our programming.